Namaste everyone. So yeah, today I've decided to make another video. But yeah, I'm actually quite tired and I've only slept for 4 hours. But I guess it is what it is, right? So the reason being why I should share this video is I'm actually just there's this very strong feeling that the universe wants me to do so. And it's coming from a point whereby I should sort of do an introduction. And first and foremost, before I actually dive in on this introduction about myself, I'd like to thank all the beautiful people that reached out to me, like Victor, Joshua Andre from the I'm Creator team, and of course, all the people that commented in my previous videos, even in my Facebook. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah, and yeah, so like I say, my mission is to be a life coach and to sort of use the power of spirituality, law of attraction, and feng shui to basically touch the lives of the people around me or the people that I'm reaching out to. Yeah. So let's jump into the introduction of myself. So hopefully you guys can learn something out of it, and hopefully please just hit like and subscribe before you do so, and comment any learnings down below, because by doing that you're actually not doing me a favor, but you're actually putting this into the algorithm in YouTube so that they know that at least this video there's people watching this video enough for the audience out there. So if you like to do some form of charity, please do this as a charity. Yeah. And and I thank all the nice subscribers that have already done so. And I know for the first two videos I've only got like what, about 100 views. So the first video that was about 70 plus views, and second video is only like 30 plus views. So we've already gotten rid of the people that don't believe in all this woo thing on the first video and the second video. So it seems like this video right now is the right time for people to really know about spirituality and to really know about me, and who really think that they can trust me. Okay. So yeah, briefly to say, my journey started off since very young age. When I was in back then, I grew up in Singapore, and a lot of my friends here, I think a lot of subscribers know me in Singapore, I think. So yeah, I think when I was young, I think when growing up, I'm the youngest in my family of three. Of my three siblings, out of the three siblings, I'm the youngest. So I would like to think that my parents are very the typical Chinese family whereby they are really strict. So if you don't perform well enough, you get beat. You perform badly, you get beaten as well. So that's the kind of family that I was brought up in. So and it was always never about human rights. It's always not about what you say, or it never really matters about what your opinions is. So I guess I never really had the voice that I needed during the younger days, and I felt like I was never given the kind of listening or upbringing that I really needed as a person. So but I think all these are what the universe wants me to really go through, because as I learned through my teachings lately, and all the insights and all the downloads from all the great sages and all the masters throughout my meditations and all the teachings from my masters, is like a journey that I have to go through, because it is not easy for people that has to go on this spiritual path. Hence, that's why we have to go through a lot of shitload of stuff in the initial stages. Whereas if somebody were to give you a life that is filled with amazing wonders and without challenges, you probably just continue staying trapped in this illusion of life. You probably think that you've already got everything figured out and you don't even need to worry about life. So yeah, I guess a lot of people wants to see the change in the world, but a lot of people don't want to be the change in the world. So, which is quite sad in these days in our common context, and everyone is just so busy, day in day out, so busy. Yeah, sorry, I digress. So back to where I grew up from was in Singapore. So back in Singapore, I think yeah, as I grew up during my younger-hood, in my childhood days, I think I would consider myself being quite spiritual in the younger days. I was brought up in a family whereby my parents brought me into religions. I was exposed to a lot of religion since young, and I was forced to eat vegetarian when I was very young for several years, and to follow a specific religion. So back then I didn't know anything because I was too young, and I think the recollection that I have in my mind right now is not positive because I think that I was forced into this religion. Then after everything all fell apart. Mom decided to stop eating vegetarian, then we all stopped eating vegetarian all at one go. And I was like, yay, everything, we finally decided to stop eating vegetarian. And look at me right now, I'm back to being a vegetarian on my own will. So how amazing life actually plays out to be, right? So yeah, sorry, I digress again. Yeah, then I think in Singapore, I think we basically have a lot of temples, a lot of religions from different cultures, different mix, different heritage. Somehow in my younger days, around my 8 years old, my 10 years old, growing up, there's always this little inkling feeling in me that is always asking and is always curious about spiritual stuff, be it like the ghosts, the monsters, the ghosts hiding in the corner or in the closet, or all the cartoons that we've been watching. So to speak, I never really had a childhood that was common to most people, whereby you play 5 stones or you throw skipping ropes on this kind of stuff. No, it's different. I would consider myself a little bit different. I would also say that I'm weird. I'm odd in certain ways. Yeah, and without the proper guidance, I was led astray several times in life, and I had joined different mixers out there that I wasn't very proud of. But I guess that's the journey in life, right? You've got to go through all these knocks in order to make you a better person in life. So I was lucky, I was fortunate, I would say. I'm truly grateful that I was always guided by this invisible force to go back to the right path, and till this day led to me being spiritually awakened. So yeah, it was not the ideal scenarios that I actually been brought up as, because of the financial situation back in Singapore. I think a lot of the finance problems, like since I'm being the youngest one, and I don't seem to enjoy school so much, and not because I don't really like to study, but I only study stuff that I'm highly passionate about, and I'm clearly very sure that I'm a person that pursue things that I'm really passionate about or keen about, and once you put me in that kind of field of study, I would excel in that. Yeah. So yeah, so if you guys remember, if your family you've got kids as well, so always remember that if they don't perform well in school, it's not a big deal, because ultimately it's the upbringing, the characteristics of how you want your kids to turn out to be. Yeah. So as long as they don't perform bad stuff, they got a nice heart, they got a beautiful heart, they are compassionate. That's what is most important of a person, because skills, knowledge, all these can be learned, and And if you were to really know spiritually deep down, they are here on their purpose as well, and they will ultimately figure out, you see. So as parents, I think most people should just remember that your journey as a parent is to help bring your children up so that they eventually grow out of this comfort zone and starts to be independent and go actually seek their own direction, you see, and not try to pull back them into towards a certain direction that they shouldn't. Yeah, because ultimately you're altering certain habits in them and altering certain, you're basically programming in you. If you watch my first video about limiting beliefs and how a person is actually being programmed, don't program them to a certain extent, that because it will be a lot of there's a lot of traumas that the person will need to heal up throughout their life, because it will imprint into their minds, into their subconscious. Yeah. So yeah, sorry, I digress again. So back then, when I was pursuing my career, I was grateful that one of my closest friends in my secondary school days introduced me to his buddy who has an interior design company. And back then I think it was back I was in my 18s or my 19s, can't really recall, but yeah, that was very initial days because I wanted to pursue interior design, and I don't think I got the means to go into the course of studies because my grades wasn't that fantastic, and I can't get to my polytechnic days where I can't study the interior design program. And yeah, I worked very hard. I joined them, and just for several months, and I learned the ropes from there. And I'm truly grateful that it was through the learning of all the basic commands of the software that I was able to learn another skill. Yeah, but ultimately I think I wasn't truly enjoying the whole process of work in Singapore, because it seems like it was never smooth sailing for me. If most people would know me in Singapore, I think especially my close ones, or yeah, they would probably know that there's heaps of job interviews that I've went through, there's heaps of job change that I've went through, and I guess the situations given to me at that time, I wasn't strong mentally or physically or psychologically able to handle. Give you an instance that I've worked in an architectural practice for about 2 years and a half, I think, and for some people it will be just smooth sailing. They'll be able to work from 9 to 5, then they'll get to go back home early. For me, it will always be day to day. It'll be like what, mornings to mornings, mornings to mornings, mornings to mornings. And whenever I get home in the morning, my mom would be asking me, "Oh, you're about to go out to work?" No, actually, no, mom. I'm actually just coming home from work. So that was that intense, and it was throughout the 8 hours of OTs that it becomes a daily. So imagine during my Chinese New Year days, I would ultimately be able to collect 3 months of full on leave paid. So that was the amount of intense work that I had to go through during my younger work days. And yeah, changing companies, it was tough. I've met a lot of nasty employers that through interviews, they'll degrade me, they'll downgrade me, they'll tell me that I don't worth anything, that my knowledge is outdated. Because I was practicing a lot on hand sketching, and my lecturer in school back then, I took a one year program and learned the ropes of basic interiors. So it was not easy. Yeah, I would say that it's definitely not easy. So it was lots of hiccups, and it was never smooth sailing because I always persisted on being a good interior designer. Why? Because of my childhood days where I was watching on TV Extreme Makeover. But I think I kind of misunderstood watching extreme makeover. I think I enjoyed the bit whereby the program actually helped a less unfortunate family to make over their house because they are in poor living conditions, and I thought that my passion was to design houses so that I could do that. So that actually was something that was in my subconscious as a younger person, to actually help people to actually want to go into interior design. But turns out that right now, after I've become spiritually awakened, that it turns out that I found out my true purpose is to actually help people and actually contribute to the world. So the bit of helping people was misunderstood back then. I was misled to think that way. So I think ultimately, right, yeah, in my work days in Singapore, I wasn't enjoying it. It was stressful. There was a lot of politics going on behind my back, and I was never a person that was able to because I'm highly introverted, and I was never a person that I could really say it in your face that, oh look, don't do that, stop it. I can't do that. And and whenever you turn around and you could see heaps and heaps of wounds behind you, and can't, I mean, that's because I think maybe that's because of the upbringing that I was brought up. It seems like I say, in the culture in Singapore, in a lot of traditional Chinese families, you don't perform well, you get beaten. You perform well, you perhaps maybe get a little bit of reward, but if you don't perform well, or if you can't perform up to enough expectations, you get beaten as well. So everything you get beat. So that's the kind of mindset that was brought up in. So I guess that kind of imprinted in me that if I face any work politics in life, that I can't actually stand up for myself as well. So yeah, then I think I was so frustrated that yeah, I wanted a way out of Singapore. Then back then I met up with my partner, and she graduated from Australia, Brisbane, and she was just so nice that she is my twin flame. Now that I know that I'm on this journey, I know that she is my twin flame. And yeah, back in the later videos, I'll probably be sharing what's the more in-depth picture about soulmates and twin flames, rather than the first video that I made about love. Yeah. Yeah, so she liked the life of Brisbane, Australia. So in my later days, I think she brought me on the holiday to Brisbane, and to basically sort of have a quick 1 week or two. So I was here and I was like trying to contemplate, oh, what would life be if I was to be able to move from Singapore to Australia? So that thought just came in at that time, and I didn't know that that was the law of attraction already working at that time. It was like there's this little feeling that I was asking her, so do you really enjoy working? Do you really enjoy the life in Brisbane, or do you sort of enjoy work? You like to live here? So she mentioned that, oh yeah, I really do. If, to be honest, if there's no she mentioned that if there's no work complications, or there's no liability that she has to fulfill in Singapore, she probably wouldn't even be back in Singapore, and we probably even won't meet. See, so yeah, I think so that when she told me about that, I was like, oh okay, then let's do it then. I told her, let's do it. So I told her I want to get out of Singapore as well, because it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel right as well. And I think I was never throughout my journeys in Singapore, even with all the heaps and heaps of temples that I'm always close to, that I always visit, I always go there to pray. I seek guidance for all kinds of spiritual masters, like Taoist mediums or whatsoever, just to seek for the answer to my problems. But I could always never try to get down to the source of the problem. And the source of problems was actually to be with me to begin with. I think I was the source of problem because I was never able to understand the source of gratitude, and I was never grateful for all the things that are good around me. I was always focused on all the problems around me. I was hateful, and I hated my life back in Singapore. I hated everything. I hated everyone. I blamed everything on everyone but myself. So I was a very egoistic person back then, and my temper was really bad. So if a lot of you guys know me back in Singapore, I think I was one of the most hateful person. So I was negative. I was never in the right place. Yeah, and it came to a point whereby I think that I should give up. So that I carried that kind of mentality and mindset all the way from Singapore down to Brisbane, when eventually not even when I moved here, I had the same mindset. I thought that by changing the location from Singapore to Brisbane, I would potentially feel that I could get an easier way out. But no, it seems like I say, the universe wants what it wants, you see, and you're just being put here to sort of figure out your life, and sort of it will give you all the situations and all the necessary blocks, all the necessary hits and runs, the detours to actually lead you back to one path of the truth, you see. So yeah, when I got here, everything was all right to begin with. Then took me about 8 months to get my first job as a designer and for architectural practice. And yeah, in that company, it wasn't as smooth sailing as well. I've met 2 bosses that are good, 2 bosses that are shit. Like shit. Why do I say like shit? Because yeah, unethical. Yeah, unethical. Yeah, but that was because I didn't understand that in life, that's everything has to be of a balance. So just like the sign of the Taoist, the yin and the yang, that always in life, everything is always about balance. There has to be a yin and there has to be a yang. So whenever there's a good, there's always a bad in everywhere you go. So in every company, I'm pretty sure some of you might probably question, why is my company, why am I always working so hard, whereas that person can just not do anything and yet still get the glory? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you probably met people like that, and you probably be complaining, why are this company hiring this kind of shitheads to work for them? And whereas I'm working so hard for them, I don't even get paid well enough to be getting all this kind of salary or glory or whatever. Yeah, so just know that in life, there has to be balance. So, and this is something that I only figured out since last year. Yeah, so fast forward to this day, last year, COVID, everything went smooth. Then everything was going all right at work, but I was still hateful. I was blaming, and I wasn't grateful for all the things. I wasn't even grateful. I was grateful, but I wasn't truly grateful for being able to move here to Australia. So I think that's how it is. That's why I was attracting more of these things that made me ungrateful occur in my life. So fast forward to year 2020, March, I lost my job. Yeah, so along with 80% of my colleagues in the company, because everyone just used the reason, since it's COVID, I should lay off all the company and I should close it up and just end the business and move my operation somewhere. So that's just how it is, you see. But I view it very negatively. So I was like all over the place again. I was like, shit, this is happening to me again. Back in Singapore, I had to change like 10 to 12 jobs. 10 to 12 jobs, and my total year of experience in interior design is like what, 12 years? 10 to 12 jobs. Look at the amount of hiccups I had in Singapore. I wasn't grateful when I was working in Singapore, so that's the reason why I had changed so much jobs. You see, so it shows how powerful gratitude is in our day-to-day lives. Yeah. And yeah, so back here again, I lost my job. So it seems like, so it start to make me wonder, why is it always my job? What's the universe's plan for me? Why am I always losing my job? I would consider myself a good designer, and I design really good stuff, I think. And all the clients that I've actually designed for, I would say 90% of them would always come back to me, and I would say 90% of them are always leaving good reviews and good remarks for me. But somehow I just don't understand why it led me to it always gives me to all the situation in life always gives me the hiccups until I figure out that now that I connect the dots backward, so I start to see so this is where the universe is trying to point me to. See, so now that I know and I connected all the dots, I'm truly grateful that without all these hits and bumps, all these detours, and without me moving to Australia, I probably wouldn't even be awakened, and I probably wouldn't find the true source of happiness. Right now, doesn't matter what I have. Back in Singapore, what I always wanted was, I want to set up my own company. I want to be rich. I want to be this and that. I want to be this. I want to be this popular. I need to be that famous. Because I was brought up in that environment, and being in Singapore, an Asian country, is highly competitive. So yeah, everyone wants a bit of the pie. Everyone wants to fight for that piece of pie and wants to get really good at it. But I guess that's not the true purpose in life. That's the illusion that we want to think that we've got figured out. You see, we want the riches. So what's next after the riches? So what if you get all these riches? Can you eat the money? Can you bring it to your deathbed once you got all this? So that was the constant questions that I had back in Singapore, but somehow it wasn't thriving in the mind, you see, until I got to the stage where I was awakened. So everything started to piece in, you see. So I was freaked out when I was about to be awakened. I went when I lost my job. My neighbor that was he's a very nice person. He's a very kind soul. He approached me saying that, look, his master is interested to hold a feng shui class. And it's going to be the final feng shui class because my master is about 70 plus years old, and he's about to retire. So he's decided to hold one final class, one final batch of class to impart his knowledge of feng shui. So my neighbor, he approached me saying that, since you're jobless at this point, why not you come and learn this course? Until then I was like, shit, I can't, my Mandarin is not that good. and you tell me to speak it, I can speak it, but you're asking me to write, and you're asking me to look at all the 八卦, all the feng shui 书, all the 八字书, all these ancient Chinese and all the traditional Chinese texts, you see. So I was like, can I actually do it? So I was asking myself that question. So somehow I accepted it because I wanted to know the past, the future, because in feng shui, that's where if you go into the 8 characters of a person, the 八字, right, you can actually start to predict your future. You can actually start to even predict your past. You can look at all these connections and the dots that how the universal energies works to affect you astrologically, right? So there was this feeling that was telling me, why not just go for it? And he was so nice that he actually paid for my course 3 to 4 months, and I didn't know that he he being so nice, right? He told me that the course is free. But I think no, I didn't know that he actually paid for me behind my back. So he actually went ahead and pay my master, saying, oh, let's give Garrett a go. So yeah, I for the 4 months he also dedicated about 2 to 3 days of his week to actually give me the tuition that I needed to catch up with the class. Yeah, so until the 4th month, I realized that there was a little bit of falling out between him and my master, because my master was trying to push his luck by trying to get him to do some little feng shui calendars, and he was always pressuring him, because he's an old grumpy man, right, my master. So he always like pressure my neighbor. He's like, my neighbor was like, I got enough of it. So then that was when he told me that actually the cost that you're going for is how much for several sessions. I was like, what? Oh, you've always been paying behind my back. So that's where I found out. Yeah. So I told him, that's it. I will not continue. So yeah, my learning at that ended at where I've learned everything about 八字. I wouldn't say everything, but I would say close to 70 to 80% of 八字. So yeah, and it was really is really useful. So after I learned about my journey in feng shui kind of came to a close halt. Because during the feng shui classes, right, we often go out to help people to view their place, even to 入宅, to actually enter the ceremonies, to actually create rituals to help them come into a new house, so to actually welcome them into their own new house. So there were several instances whereby I kept having sensations of feeling energies and entities in their spaces. So this thing was constantly being reminded since I was a younger person, you see. So when I was a young kid, I always got this weird feeling whereby I could enter a space and I could feel the surrounding and know that there's something there. So this is empathic abilities, or you could call it psychic abilities, or whatever names that you want to call it. But it's basically more sensitive towards energies, and you're able to feel them. And most cases, I could even try to communicate with them by, yeah. So it was that feeling and that sensation strengthened when I was doing feng shui. So I wanted to question and wanted to find out more about that. Hence, I went into a deeper study of my religion in Buddhism. So I studied and I did a lot of meditations. So much meditations in a day that I wanted to figure out source and find out what's with all the connections with me, going through all these challenges in life with me, having all these kind of abilities with me, and with all these connections, I sort of lost track a little bit. So during my meditations, there was this point that I meditate so much that my forehead started to hurt, you see. And I thought that something is going on with me, something is wrong with me. So I was, until a point where I realized that it was actually the awakening of the third eye. It was about to be activated fully. So somehow the learnings and the studying of the Buddhism and all the Taoism cultures that I've learned, I've applied it. I've applied it in my feng shui classes. I applied it during when I go out and help people on their feng shui, on the feng shui bits of things. And it seems like it's destined that I should learn all these things, and that I should actually use it for my day-to-day lives, you see. And fast forward to this day, I needed the deeper studies to wanted to find out about the third eye, and why is this head. So I did a lot of research online. Why is it headaches all causing? Then I found out that actually my third eye is about to awaken, and throughout this whole process where I was still learning, I was also constantly looking for jobs, and I was like, I was trying to figure out whether I should start my own business. I was trying to figure out whether I should look for another job full time. So I was like constantly pushing, come on, fine. But I was sending out heaps and heaps of applications, about 200 over applications just last year. So that was the amount of effort. I even applied for jobs that are cleaners, and applied for sandwich makers in Subway. Don't even want to hire me. So it's weird. Somehow you just don't want to hire me. Until when I got spiritually awakened, that was the time that everything came in at such a quick pace that I was swamped. So what happened was that I was doing a lot of meditations. Then afterwards, I was doing research. Then I actually chanced upon certain videos that my master is actually following. I followed. I mean, there's this certain videos that my master was trying to teach about meditations and how to actually make use of the third eye chakra, and what are the signs and usage of third eye. So I was like, this guy is interesting. So he's the Himalayan yogi master that I'm actually following right now. So yeah, he's brought his teachings to me, and I've contacted their team, and eventually now I'm studying with them, I'm training with them. He's not only teaching me the spiritual stuff, but he's also teaching me about the business part of things, and how to actually make use of online platform working, as a freelance based kind of business. So so sorry, I digress again. So in the studies of the spiritual learnings, I was like I needed I wanted to know that I could, throughout this practice, really use it, you see. So that's where I did more intense meditations. Then I activated my third eye chakra. So that at that point when my third eye fully awakened, and that was also the point whereby I was spiritually awakened. So what does spiritual awakening actually means? So my shift of perspective totally turned around 360 degrees. So I no longer view things as coincidence. Whenever I drive on the roads, I would see lots of synchronicities. Whenever I look at the clock, sometimes I wake up at night. I wake up at 3:33, 4:44, 5:55, sometimes 1:11. So I don't call these coincidences, because it's too scary to be called as coincidences. I think if it were to happen to you, you probably freak out as well. So I was throughout that month of full discovery, right, of throughout my spiritual awakening journeys, a lot of things changed for me. My temper, my anger, my everything, all my emotions, it all went down 90%. I wouldn't say cut off totally, but I would say it went down 90%. My shift of perspective on life, everything changed, and my 5 senses improved tremendously. So I could hear things, I could smell things, I become so sensitive. My vision has also improved tremendously, even though it was perfect eyesight back then, but it's improved so much so that whenever I go into a forested areas, I could see from afar. I could know how far away from how high the trees are, that I could see how many birds are there. It's like laser lens kind of vision kind of thing. So it sounds freaky, but it's something that's true if you experience it somehow. So I decided that interesting. So I was like, this is interesting. So one thing that came along with that opening of the third eye was it also had my sixth sense was also very strong, because it improved tremendously tenfold as well, because it was when you know the third eye is actually the connections to the to the outer dimensions already. You're able to tap into the divine source. Yeah. So in the later stages, I started to, because I love my meats, right? So I love my food as well. I'm an avid fan of meat and seafood, so I enjoy my meat and seafoods. I can never have a meal without meat. So there was this point where I came to a realization that look, my taste bud feels weird. I could taste the sensations of meat. I could taste the sensation of the hurt, the feelings of the meat that I'm about to eat. I could taste the blood sensations that I'm about to chew up in. So I don't want to scare anybody off, but yeah, that's the intensity that I was feeling. And back then, my just so nice, there was this instance that my partner, she was telling me to, why not you go cut the chicken meat for me while I prep for other part of the cooking. So I was like, back then I was already a little bit disgusted. I was like, what is happening in me? I was like, I can't figure out what's wrong. So then I took the piece of meat and I was cutting the meat, right? There was so much blood in it. I was straight away I turned off. That was like, oh, that's it for me. I was like, that's it. so that was the final bit that the universe wanted me to know. That's it. Your journey with meat is no longer there anymore. You should no longer touch the meat anymore. So and further to that, when I was going to the supermarket, right, on the first week where my awakening happened, I almost fainted in the supermarket because when I entered, because our supermarkets is just like the Giants and the Sheng Siong, right, where you got a lot of seafood sections out there. So when I entered the supermarket, right, straight away the smell went into my nose. I almost literally like I stood there for a few minutes because it was so strong that I couldn't comprehend. And that kind of sensations is something that is quite horrific. So I quickly just went in and took all my veg and my fruits and just quickly get out of that place. So that was how impactful that is, you see. So yeah, fast forward again to these current days, I went on to pursue even further and deeper study in terms of spirituality. I started to learn yoga because Himalayan yogic practices are not the conventional yogas that you see out there in the commercial world. It's a lot of hatha yoga practice, a lot of traditional ancient Himalayan yogic practice, and some of which you could probably see you probably wouldn't do out there. Yeah, so when I started off this journey, everything shifted, because when I enter my third eye, when I was doing meditations, I was also using the law of attraction and see how far it could actually get me to. So then everything came in really quickly. I started to manifest all the job offers coming, and my neighbor actually introduced me to one of these jobs that there was one of his subcontractors. Then I got to know him, and he has his own business and wanted to work with me, wanted to offer me a high pay. And I say high pay is really high pay. It's a lot high pay. So my partner's company also, her boss wanted to hire me. Then there was also several freelance work that was going on, and I was swamped. So I was everything just came in really quickly after I came to realization of this truth. And when I started to use the law of attraction together with my spiritual gifts, so everything speed up at an enormous and ginormous speed, you see. So that was where I realized how powerful it is when you work with the energies of the universe, you see. Because back then when I didn't know all this and I didn't realize how powerful it is, I was always fighting against the flow. So now that I know that the truth is to actually work with this flow, I was like constantly amazed by all this magical stuff. So being spiritually awakened also means that I was able to tap in deeper, and I was able to attract and increase my vibration so high, so much so that I get disconnected with the world that are negative. So that means a lot of things that I'm doing right now is a lot more positive. So all the negativity that I've faced so far are basically all my karmic values that I need to overcome. So not saying that I still have, I'm not saying that it's fully overcome, but I'm still going throughout the process. So much so for most people, throughout this seeker's journey, it's not going to be easy for everyone, but it's everyone is burning their karmic values in some way. If you're not doing anything, you're not doing any form of gratitude, or you're not doing any form of charity work, or doing good, or whatsoever, then you're not burning away all these karmic values. You're basically just living. You're just living. Okay, so meaning no matter what it is, no matter what religion that you believe in, okay, they're all under one source. Always remember that they all fall under one source, universal source. Always remember that. So it's nothing to do with religion or anything. So if you go down, if you are spiritually awakened, you will know the truth that because I've seen visions in my meditations, and I'm pretty sure that if you go out into the spiritual world, and if you go into spiritual awakening, or you go start doing some research about spiritual awakening, you will know that everyone will tell you religion is not existent. But I would like to think that religion is existent, you see, because it's just a universal source trying to speak to all religions of all different forms, being Buddha, Krishna, or whatsoever, okay, or Jesus, or Yogananda, or whatever, you see. So because the ultimate goal of a religion is to spread message of love, and I feel that a lot of the teachings of each religion, a lot of people take it, a lot of all these spiritual people, they kind of misled the followers under them. They kind of start telling people by misleading them, saying that, oh, because you're in this form of religion, you should not follow that religion, and you should hate them, or you should. So if you were to come to an understanding, the true source of energy will never talk about hate. They will always be in the place of love. Same for all religions. So it's never right, and I always disagree that me being a specific religion should always talk bad about the other religions. That's not right, because all of us are one entity, you see. And if you were to deeper realize after awakening, you know that everyone is interconnected. We are all one source. We are one with the stones, we are one with the rocks, we are one with the trees, with the air and the oxygen. Think about it, we are all dimensions after dimensions, layers and layers dimensions, just like the onion. When you cut it open, there's so many rounds and rounds of circles. So there's so many layers of dimensions that this universe actually covers. That I would probably cover in my later videos, because you freak a lot of people out right now. And even if I were to tell you right now, a lot of people can't comprehend that thinking. So yeah, in my urgency to create this video, I can't understand it, and I will never understand it, because like I say, I'm still going through this whole seeker's journey. Even though I've awakened, I'm still following the path of awakening. I'm still trying to seek what's next, and it's gonna be exciting. Yeah, and it's something that is amazing is that I'm trying to get out of full-time work also, because even though right now I'm working full-time, but it just seems like the heart is no longer there. I've purged so much that I think that working in an environment that no longer sees the value. It's like when you're spiritually awakened, you realize that a lot in life don't really matter, you see. It's not, I'm not saying that you don't work. I'm not saying that you should disconnect yourself from the working world. I'm not saying that you shouldn't make money, but there's so much more easier ways to make money. And in life, we are not made to handle stress. All the challenges in life is already tough enough. So once you discover the truth, is how you make use of this knowledge to actually improve your life better. So by doing whatever I'm doing right now, by sharing the message of love, by sharing, I'm working my way towards improving other people's life, and it will fall back to me as well. So this is how it is, because the universe will always give a value to value exchange. Always remember that. So yeah, so this whole short video turned out to be almost close to an hour kind of sharing. So I'm not sure how should I actually edit this whole video, you see. So I don't know, but everything just flow in and just came out all at one go. So I don't know how should I, yeah. But yeah, I'm if deep down the road, any of you are interested to even learn deeper about spiritual journeys, I know that this video probably, when I put it out there, it probably wouldn't get any views, or because people are like, oh holy shit, this is 1 hour, I shouldn't even watch it. Yeah, and by looking at YouTube statistics yesterday, a lot of people only watch till 3 minutes, the max average people. So the average viewers only watch until 3 minutes. So it doesn't matter what it is, but I'm just gonna share it. Whoever wants to watch it. Yeah. And if you learn something out of it, then take it, really take it and use it, and really evaluate your life, because we learn from everything. The Siddhas in the mountains, they learn from even stones and rocks. So what makes us think that we are so egoistic and we live in the forefront of ego, thinking that we've already figured out everything in life? No, we are always constantly growing. Growth is the only constant, you see, because if you are not growing, you're dying. So that's something that I feel a lot of people letting their ego come into play, thinking that, oh, I figured out my life, I know everything. What's that person saying? Should I even believe him? Why am I so skeptical about this person? What makes you think that you're a person? Just think of this whenever you have this kind of mindset, right? Just learn. No matter how old you are, or how knowledgeable you are, or how much degrees you hold, how much salary that you hold, this is just a suit. You're just wearing a physical suit. And know that even how old you are, maybe you could be 100 years old, okay? You will always have to learn from, you can even learn from the tiniest bit. You can even learn from babies. So let's talk about parents. So even parents can learn from babies. So especially for those who are new to becoming a parent, okay? Are you learning from a baby? I'm pretty sure the baby is teaching you a lot of stuff. How to actually be a parent, how to look after the baby, how to feed the baby, how to take care of, change the diapers of the baby. So isn't the baby trying to teach you a lesson? Think about it. So aren't you, being such a knowledgeable person, aren't you learning from a baby? So in life, we are judging too much. We are making so much opinions. The mind is always telling you, oh, look, I shouldn't listen to that person. I shouldn't listen to this person because he's of a certain religion, or he is of a certain belief, or he's not even successful enough to be telling me this. Or no, don't have that kind of mindset, because we learn from everything, every walks in life. You see, be it good, be it bad. In my current practice right now, in the current system that I'm practicing right now, is we don't believe there's a good or there's a bad, and it just is, because everything in life, it just is. See, if you keep thinking certain situations as good, or you keep thinking of situations as bad, then it is. You get what I mean? It's how powerful the thought actually controls everything. If you believe that the situation is right, somebody will always object that. If you believe that that certain situation is wrong, somebody will also object that. So what is right and what is wrong? Ask yourself that. So does it mean by looking at, if you turn on Animal Planet and you watch the lions chasing after the zebras and trying to eat up the zebras, do you think that's the lion's at fault? No, that's not. We can't blame the lion for being a lion, because that's just how life is. Always remember, life is all about balance, okay? So when you are able to truly understand the source of balance, that's where you come to a point whereby your consciousness it's going to take you further down the seeker's journey. And what is this seeker's journey all about? It's all about discovering the true purpose and your higher purpose in this lifetime. You come down to this planet, you come down to this earth to attain a specific goal, specific purpose. You perhaps maybe haven't even figured out it yet. You think that you probably figured it out. You think that by having every weekends after work, you think that by just going out there, having fun, having party, going out to eat good stuff, visiting all different locations down, where can I go eat? Where's the most fantastic food around the place? Do you think that that's the type of life that you are really made? You're actually falling in the web of Maya. This is just an illusion. You think that that's the true happiness? And do you think that you're just coming into this earth just to come in and eat, sleep, drink, give birth to babies and reproduce already, then just die? Do you think that's the type of life that you truly are supposed to be? Go figure it out, and you will know that there's so much more to life than just eat, sleep, produce, and die. It is a lot more to this. There's so much more to the physical realm before we could even step into the spiritual realm. We've got to get our physical realm figured out before we could even enter the spiritual realm. Else this cycle will keep going on and going on and going on and on and on and on and on for the next several lifetimes. You don't believe it, no matter what religions you're from, you don't believe it, by all means. So yeah, so this short video that turned out to become an hour video kind of thing, hope that I've shared a little bit of my background, and hope that potentially down the road there will be a lot more subscribers that I could share, that could encourage me, and could also give their comments in the sections. And if you got any questions, I would always answer from there. And if I piss anyone off in this video or any of my videos that I'm sharing, I'm sorry. I'm not doing it on purpose. If you find it that if you find me egoistic, sorry, I'm not egoistic. I'm just telling you the truth, and if you don't like it, then that's just how it is. You just got to face it. Then don't watch my videos, okay? And for those who are watching my videos, I thank you so much, and I truly appreciate you, and whatever message that I brought out there to shed some light in how the world and how the universe actually works. I'm truly thankful that you're able to learn and put it into practice. And of course, sending a lot of love, a lot of light to all of you. Okay, namaste. I'm ending this video off. Thank you.